Hi, I'm Jon Roberts, and this is Agent Entropy. So I want to start with an introduction to this channel and what it is that I'm trying to do here. I've had Agent Entropy as sort of a blog, anti-blog kind of thing. I'll explain later. But I've had it for some years now. I think it really was since the early 2000s, but I was just using it as a place to dump my thoughts and to just kind of go through things that I was working through, questions that I was thinking about my faith. And it's been kind of just sitting there for a while, and I've had this on my mind to take it to a video format. And so that's what I want to do here. So in this introductory video, I just want to kind of introduce myself and kind of talk about what this channel is going to be. So I guess I'll answer three questions. I'll answer, who am I? What is this? And who is it for? So who am I? Well, I don't know. It really feels like an ego trip when I try and talk about these things, when I talk about myself. But I'll start by saying I don't know a majority of things. I'm very aware of the fact that being a Christian, a Protestant Christian, and knowing a lot about the faith and learning a lot about the faith as I've grown, there's still so much that I don't know. And so that's where I start. Who am I? I'm someone who doesn't know a lot. And so I'm searching, I'm looking, I'm trying to answer questions and looking for new questions too. That's always an interesting pursuit, to pay attention to the questions. I'm a husband. I've been married for over 10 years, and I have 3 kids, 2 of which we got to keep. One was born sleeping. Like I said, I'm a Christian, I'm Protestant, and I'm Reformed. So that's kind of the perspective that I'm approaching everything with. I grew up a literalist fundamentalist, so, seeing scripture and reading it almost like it was a magazine that was written last week, and taking everything exactly literally from Genesis to Revelation. But as I grew, that has not been the case for me for the past 20 years or so. I kind of expanded my scope, grew in understanding of historical and creedal Christianity. And so I would say, as far as my understanding of Christianity now, I lean towards Reform, but I lean Catholic in a lot of things. And that's big C Catholic, understanding of tradition and understanding of historical Christianity, how it developed. But I would say as a kid, I really had a lot of questions in my community. I really wanted to get a grip on my faith and know what it is that I believe. And it's that kind of curiosity that led me to find these things eventually. I would say my influences are obviously C.S. Lewis. I mean, who doesn't have C.S. Lewis as an influence? And then his influence, George MacDonald. Phenomenal writing from George MacDonald. Love his stories. I would say Henri Nouwen, Frederick Buechner, Stanley Hauerwas, N.T. Wright, big one with Tim Keller. He's the one who kind of brought me into that understanding of Reformed faith. And Bishop Barron really has helped me to understand the historical aspect, the Catholic aspect of Christianity. So that's where I would say my influences really lie. So what am I doing making a channel about Christianity and talking about the faith? I'm just some guy, right? But I would say my qualifications for this are that I'm a ruling elder in the PCA, Presbyterian Church in America. And I've been so for the past 6 years or so now. And I'm also a scholar, for what it's worth. I've done postgraduate research in the field in the sociology of religion. So I've gone to churches and interviewed people and kind of researched worship and what that means in America. So that's who I am. And so what is this? What is this thing that I'm doing here with Agent Entropy? Well, I like to kind of talk about it on the original website that I started as an anti-blog, right? So I think I'm so clever and witty that I called it an anti-blog. So I'm not doing this like a regular blog, and so I guess I'll do the same thing with this. I'll say this is not going to be a podcast. This is not going to be a kind of a weekly thing. This is going to be when I encounter things that I find interesting, and I'm going to try and convey these questions and these things that I'm working through in a way that's accessible, that you can actually kind of understand. I don't want this to get too heady and too over the top complex. I just want to help people work through these questions the same way that I'm working through. And I want to bring in other voices. This is a place where I want to bring in those who have spoken into my life and those who I'm in dialogue with right now, people that from different perspectives of Christianity and even different faiths, to bring them in and to just have conversations and to talk about a range of topics. We can go all over the place with it. I don't want to limit it at this point. But that's what I want to do. And I want to kind of follow kind of like a creed that the Austrian poet Rainer Maria Rilke wrote in a letter to a young poet on July 16th, 1903. And he says, "Be patient toward all that is unsolved in your heart and try to live the questions now." And that's what I want to do. Not just ask questions, but live the questions. And that is take the core of those questions and don't just try and answer them abstractly and then go on living however you want, but to take those questions, especially the ones having to do with faith and how faith applies to life and how faith and reason are talking to each other, and live that, like actually embody it and not just talk about these things, but how can we actually move forward in love and do what we're talking about and live Christianity and not just keep it in the abstract. And so that's what this is, at least I hope. And who is it for? I would say it's for dumb people like me, people who don't know things. So it's for me first, right? It's kind of selfish. I have a lot of questions. I have a lot of things I want to figure out, but I want to share it with you. And that's what this is about. I want to share what I've been learning and what I'm still learning and the things that I just don't get, and how so much of our faith is just a mystery, and not a mystery like, oh, we can't figure it out, forget about it, but a mystery that the more I look into it, the more I talk to others about it, the more I learn, the more I see that I've only taken like the first half step into it, and I want to maybe go 1/8 of a step more, maybe by talking to others, and something to bring you deeper into your faith or non-faith. I don't know, whoever is going to be watching this. I mean, I'm not going to pretend like this is going to apply to everyone. I think more specifically, and this has kind of been my calling from what I've seen, is to bring those who are in the faith and to help them find a question that helps them take that 1/8 of a step deeper in. And that's my hope, that this will, whether it reveals something you never thought of or maybe a perspective you've never seen, I just overall want it to help you dive deeper into what you believe. And I pray that it's something that helps you see Christ and see that the Son of God is the one who came to redeem all of this. And I would say, I just want to end by saying that the name of this whole thing is Agent Entropy, because I'm calling back to when St. Paul says in Romans, in his letter to the church in Rome, in chapter 8, around verses 20 and 21, he says that the creation was subjected to futility in the hope that creation itself would be set free from slavery to corruption and share in the glorious freedom of the children of God. So there is an intentionality behind the subjection to futility. There is an intentionality, an agency to that corruption, entropy. Everything is falling apart and it's working towards something. And I pray that this channel, or whatever it is to you, whether it's just a single video you're watching or whatever it is, I pray that it shows you the truth of Christianity, that this corruption is not the end of the story, that it's not the last truth about this world, to use Frederick Buechner's language. It's the second to last truth, that all of this corruption is going to be uncorrupted. It's moving towards renewal. That's what we're moving towards. We're moving towards the renewal of the whole cosmos. And I hope that in taking that 1/8 of a step deeper into your faith, that you can see that our faith is not an escapist faith. We're not here sitting around waiting, bored, until we're just taken away to this place called heaven. But that what we believe can reach so much deeper than just an escapist little consolation prize at the end of time, but that it's something that can go to work now. We can live the questions now. And so that's all I have to say. I hope that this thing, Agent Entropy, can speak into your life in some way, and that I can get the ball rolling, and that I can help you see Christ more deeply. And peace to you.